Hello everybody, my name is Jay, also known here on YouTube as Bearded Iron. I'm a 34-year-old dad from the UK. I'm making this video as a follow-up to the video that I posted 6 months ago, which has now been watched by over 300,000 of you. Now if you haven't seen that video, I'll pop it in the link below. You're probably best off watching that first just to get some context as to around what this video is about. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how I lost 70 pounds. My last video got hundreds of comments asking exactly what I did. And it's only now that I kind of realised that that video didn't really give much detail around the diet I followed or the routine I followed in the gym. Now, I'm not a fitness expert or a personal trainer or a YouTube influencer or a fitness professional of any sort. I'm just an ex-fat guy who lost a lot of weight. I can tell you exactly what worked for me, and you never know, it might work for you. You know, I've been there, I've been through this journey, I've lost 70 pounds, and to be honest, I've gained quite a lot of muscle, so realistically, I've probably lost more than 70 pounds of sheer fat. At 20 years old, I got my first well-paid job. And with a well-paid job came fancy restaurants, going out drinking with my mates once, twice, 3 times a week. And with that, the pounds started piling on. I'm 5'11" and I weighed around 270 pounds, which is around 122 kilograms. Now nearly all the fitness information out there is by 20-something-year-olds who live in Dubai and spend 3 hours a day in the gym. I didn't feel that those guys faced the same challenges that I did. I wasn't tanned with bleached teeth and perfect hair. I was a fat bald bloke with a beard who didn't want to be fat anymore. Now I've lost a lot of weight, but my body isn't still where I want it to be. The physique I'm chasing for is something along the lines of Matt Fraser, you know, 5 times world's fittest man. And now Matt's whole philosophy is hard work pays off. And that's exactly what I had in mind during this whole process. Now I've done another video in the past around fitness motivation and finding your why. So I'm not going to bother covering that again. If you're watching these kind of videos on YouTube, you're obviously interested in fitness, you're trying to lose a bit of weight, or you're just after looking after your own health. You're here for advice or just to hear other people's stories to help motivate you. So in the previous video, you'll see I started my journey just after my 30th birthday. I was a few months out from my wedding and I'd just been diagnosed with a fatty liver. This was the final kick I needed to sort out my life. For my 30th birthday, my wife bought me a Samsung smartwatch and I almost immediately went out to a field close to where I live and I attempted to do wind sprints. Now for those of you who don't know what wind sprints are, it's essentially sprinting from one goalpost to the other, jogging back, sprinting from one goalpost to the other, jogging back as many times as you can. It's essentially for a high intensity interval training. On that very first day, I couldn't even manage one circuit. I was absolutely appalled with myself and I knew I needed to make some changes. I knew interval training wasn't going to work for me with where I was at that point. So what I did is I bought a stationary bike. I started slow, 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, and before long I was doing a full hour and I was absolutely leathered in sweat. To be honest, the first 40 pounds were lost on that bike. I didn't really know what I was doing and it was a bit of a lonely journey, to be honest. I didn't have any workout partners at that point. I weren't on Instagram or YouTube and I didn't really interact with anyone else in the fitness community. But after my initial success with weight loss, unfortunately I did relapse. After I got married, we went for our honeymoon to Canada and I spent 5 weeks in Canada eating what I want, drinking what I want, and pretty much doing what I want. But then I came back heavier and I'd lost a lot of fitness. Now unfortunately, I didn't climb straight back on the horse. I carried on eating like a king and neglecting my health. After a few months, I was pretty much back to where I started. It's at this point I started my weight loss journey again. Now I've done it before, I can do it again. So I jumped on the bike and spent 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, all the way up to spending an hour on that bike, and again, drenched in sweat. Once I'd lost some initial weight, I then invested in a treadmill and then I started running. At that point, I also started my Instagram account, which helped me build a community around what I was doing. They gave me advice on my diet, what program I should be following, and also gave me some form tips on things like deadlifts and squats, which when you're a beginner in the gym, these big compound movements are quite hard to get right without someone tweaking where you're going wrong. Then I actively started binging on YouTube content. So I was watching the likes of Scooby's Workshop, Buff Dudes, Will Tennyson, Eddie Hall, Matt Does Fitness. All these guys gave me so much inspiration. The first thing I did was get my nutrition back on track. And I started with the whole food is fuel approach. I planned the perfect day of eating and then I ate the same thing every single day for months. I follow a very similar diet even now, which I did cover in part 2 of this series, which again, I'll link in the description below. I follow a basic bodybuilder's diet. Plenty of protein, which is about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and I drink plenty of water. Now, I won't bore you with all the details. Just watch that video if you want more information on what diet I follow. I then took progress pictures every single Friday just after I weighed myself. And week in, week out, I could see slow progressive changes with the way that my body looked, and there's nothing more motivating than progress. But once I'd lost a significant amount of body fat, my goals started to change. It was no longer about losing as much weight as I possibly could. I wanted to start focusing on body composition, and I wanted to start building some muscle. And that is when I invested in all this equipment. Now unfortunately, it was during the first lockdown, so all the gyms were closed, so you know, perfect timing. Just as I want to join the gym, they all closed, so I built my own. So then we move on to the workout. I wake up at 5 o'clock every day and I do a 4-day split. I work out for roughly an hour before my day starts and before the rest of the house wakes up, and I work out here in my garage. Now, I was able to source all this equipment during the pandemic, which completely changed the way that I work out at home. I can go as heavy as I want safely. And that's the most important thing. If you're working out on your own, you need to be able to do things safely. So I can bench press without a spotter, absolutely fine, because I've got the power rack behind me. And all the links for what I use are in the description below. So here are the lessons that I learned during my transformation journey. Number 1, you can't out-train a bad diet. 1 session on the treadmill does not equal 1 cheat meal. Now, cheat meals do have their place, but only in moderation. Number 2, any effective weight loss plan should include both weightlifting and cardio. And number 3, cardio doesn't have to be difficult. Even just simply going for a walk has huge benefits. These days I aim for around 10,000 steps every single day. Now it doesn't matter if those 10,000 steps are walking, running, sprinting. As long as I hit those 10,000 steps, I'm absolutely fine. If you have any questions or comments, drop them below and I'll try and answer every single one of them. Thanks for watching and good luck on your own journey. Bearded Iron out.